Good day, everyone. We are the first group to report about the short story written by Amadis Guerrero titled Children of the City. About the author, Amadis Guerrero was born on April 15, 1941 in Ermita, Manila. He graduated in Ateneo de Manila in 1956 and completed a bachelor's degree in history at University of Santo Tomas. Guerrero has published in 1974 a short story, Children of the City, and Other Stories. He also released in the same year with Purita Calao Ledesma from the Struggle of the Philippine Arts. In 1975, he came up with a second collection of short stories called The Mainstream and the Other Stories. And then in 1979, he co-wrote with Calao Ledesma a Dates, National Artist. Guerrero wrote for Graphic Magazine. Also, he wrote and published his work in various other magazines such as Leader, Women's Home Companion, and Ellery Queen's Mystery Magazine. He also wrote for publication Planters Production and Population Commission. Later, he began writing for national daily newspaper, Philippine Daily Inquirer. The short story Children of the City about the life of a street boy in, a, in Manila, written by Guerrero, won a third prize in Palanca Memorial Awards. So, Palanca Memorial Awards, also known Don Carlos Palanca Memorial Award for Literature, are a set of literary awards for Philippine writers. It is the country's highest literary honor in terms of prestige. So, the summary of the story. The story revolved around 8-year-old Vector, a son of dock worker and unemployed mother who lived in the shanties. The story started with his father got involved in a strike because the workers believed they were being robbed their fair share of compensation by the higher-ups. Vector, innocent and unknowing, just went along because he wasn't that informed of how the world worked yet. During one of the strikes, an unfortunate turn of events, Vector's father got shot, along with many others. That moment was the catalyst of how Vector's life would turn out to be. They held a funeral in honor of his father, and his mother grieved for a while. She moved on in a short span of time when she finally brought home another man who was nothing like Vector's dad. She and the man left home, claiming they were going out on a long vacation, and Vector was entrusted to his Tio Petri, who helped with his employment as a newsboy. His first few days were rough, but he was finally getting the hang of it and was getting a lot of newspapers sold. He befriended Nasho, another newsboy who is so-called a troublemaker. He tried to do his best at his job and was rewarded for the hard work. He finally felt free and happy when a sailor gave him 2 pesos, giving him a tether of hope in the world again. It was ripped away because of Nashu's death, and the pressure put on him by his fellow workers. In the end, he succumbed to the vices when he finally realized how cruel the world is, and that no one can really escape the harshness of the reality.
So this is the characteristic of the characters in these stories. Victor is the central character of this story. He is a boy from Intramuros at the age of 8. He loses his father and his mother abandons him for some other man. He is hired as a newsboy by his uncle and start his life on the streets. Innocent and young, he ponders on the people all around him. Victor's dad, a hardworking and caring father as seen in this story, he is dock worker who joined the strike to fight because of how low their compensation is after all the hard work they do every day. Unfortunately, he died because of a gunshot during the strike. He is the beginning catalyst that made Victor change in the end. Victor's mom. He is depicted as somewhat uncaring throughout the story. Although she was very loving towards Victor's dad, she didn't seem to care much at all about her son. She grieved during her husband's funeral and grieved, but she got over it afterwards and moved on to another man. She is an irresponsible mother who left Victor all alone to fend for himself in the end. Theo Pedring is Victor's uncle who adopts him after he was left by his mother. He got Victor to Theo Pedring had a connection with he was extra good to Victor when he was satisfied with his uncle would take it out all on him as a punishment. Nasho is another newsboy who befriends Victor. He is depicted as somewhat irresponsible and a troublemaker. In the end of the story, Nasho met his death because of his recklessness, which acted as another catalyst to Victor's change. In my opinion, Nasho's death can be a metaphor for all the troublemakers and the people who know they need to change but refuse to. In the end, they all meet the same doom due to their wrong decisions in life.
So for the continuation of our report, the next is the theme of the story. So what is the theme of the story? The children of the city. So as we read this story, we found out that the central theme of this story is all about the different aspect of reality nowadays, especially it focusing to the social injustice and influential society. Next, please. So what is this social injustice? Social injustice is also the way unjust actions are done in the society. Social injustice occurs in a situation where the equals are treated unequally and the equal is treated equally. So in the story shows how people in the lower class were and are still taking advantage of, as seen in the strike of the workers who are fighting for their rights. So as we can see in the first part of the story, this social injustice was already emphasized in the part wherein Victor's dad nagkandak sila og rally together with his co-workers para ipaglaban ng ilang fight as a lower class workers. So unsang nahitabo, gipusil ang iyang papa. So with that, ma-relate na to siya in the present days wherein ang mga lower class people kay easy lang kayo kumanon ang ilang life unlike sa mga naa sa taas nga mga tao. Mas lahi ang treatment sa ila kaysa sa mga lower class. The next theme of this story is influential society. So what is this influential society? It is the process by which an individual's attitudes, beliefs, or behavior are modified by the presence or action of others. So in the story, the environment plays a large role in the theme since Victor turned out the way he did. In the end is because of the influence of the outside environment. So sa story, mapansin man nato nga most of the scenarios kay nahitabo siya sa streets of Manila. So with that, kung pagbasa pa lang nato sa streets of Manila, ma-illustrate na nato kung unsa siya klase nga environment. It is very influential gid siya. So si Victor, imbis wala siya kabalo sa mga dili maayo nga mga buhatonon, pero tungod sa peer pressure, na pressure siya sa iyang environment, which is katong mga kauban niya nga mga newsboy o uban nga mga street children. Tungod ato nag-start siya og pagpanigarilyo, paggamit og mga bad words, which is naka-indicate dito sa last part of sa story. So moto siyang ginatawag nga influential society. So next is the moral lesson. So ang moral lesson ani nga story is, in every problem there is always a solution, and do not afraid of the world because we have a freedom to enjoy the life with love. Okay, so that ends our report. Thank you for listening.